the United Stand pre-season tour sponsored by Manscaped. Discover the power of 3 with Manscaped's unique trimmers. Get the right tools for the job at manscaped.com. Manscaped, your body will thank you.
So let's get into this clever little thumbnail that we've done. 3 we go. I came up with that line. Some people think it's a bit crap, but I just thought, here we go. If you take the... That doesn't work. There we go. I should have done, not 3 we go. I've completely missed it because I thought if you take the T off, it's here we go. There we go. There they go. Anyway, I've messed it up. It didn't work out. Keevan says it's a bit cringe. It's not cringe. It's crap. Let's call it for what it is, just Keevan. There's nothing cringy about it. It's crap. Not cringe. Anyway, so basically there are 3 United players that have got major interest with them at the moment. We'll start with Fred. So Galatasaray want Fred. Man United are trying to shake out a bid for Fred from Galatasaray. I'm a little bit concerned about this because Galatasaray have obviously just bought, I think, Wilfried Zaha. I don't know what their budget is. We want £20 million for Fred. And when I hear Galatasaray, and apparently that's where Fred wants to go, I start thinking 10, 12 million quid, and that's not enough for Fred. Do you think Højlund, Amrabat and a backup goalkeeper in our transfer window is done, says Kartik? Well, we'll get onto that in a moment. But I don't think that is enough money for Fred, 12, 15 million pounds. I think that Saudi Arabia would take him. I think that Fulham would take him. And I think with that, you would get 15 to 20 million. So it's looking like Fred's heading to Galatasaray at the moment. That's what the latest is. But I'm just a little bit worried that Galatasaray will not have 20 million quid. And I think we can achieve 20 million for Fred. He's only just 30. He has sporadically been quite a good player for us. I think if you sent him off to Saudi Arabia or Fulham, you would get close to 20. And Galatasaray just feels like it'll be a cheap deal. And United 90 says I'd take 15. Look, if it's 15, it's 15. But I do think we can comfortably get 15 from Fulham and comfortably get 20 from Saudi Arabia. Galatasaray, to me, seems like Fred wants to go there. And he's like, let me go there. And I'm like, I'm not letting you go there for cheap. You can go there, but I want the price. So keep an eye on that one with Fred. He's obviously going to go. He never went on the tour. They spoke about personal issues. I think actually those personal issues are probably him deciding where he wants to go next, not anything more sinister than that. But Fred, actually, I thought would have gone by now. It's been rumbling on for, most of July with Fred. So let's hope that that gets resolved quickly. Second story is Harry Maguire. So Sky Sports, again, saying that Harry Maguire is still a target for West Ham and they're still hopeful that they can do a deal. West Ham have always been the significant team for Harry Maguire. And I will say, look, I watched the game last night. I didn't have the audio and I don't know the full facts, but getting tagged in it again that it's my fault that people boo him is just hilarious. If I told Seb that Harry Maguire got booed last night, I'd be very sad. So I don't want to see Harry Maguire getting booed. It's ridiculous. I've never booed a player at a football ground, and I'm not about to start now unless it's an opposition player who I don't like. So I don't agree with booing. If people want to boo players, it's up to them. I didn't like it when Martial was booed. I didn't like it when Pogba was booed. But I would agree with both those players leaving, and Pogba did leave. But I don't think we should be booing players. I don't think it's a really good look for a Manchester United fan base, if I'm being honest, unless they've done something horrifically bad, which I don't think Maguire has. He's just, probably not good enough for Man United. I love your work and the entire channel's work. Who do you think will be the most important player this season, says Asher? I've got a feeling that there's a few, really. Casemiro, Martinez, Varane, Rashford, Bruno, Anana. I think there's quite a few. Where do you think we'll finish next season, says Cape? Hopefully in the top 4. I don't see us winning the title. Do you really think United can get 45 million from McTominay? We're going to talk about him in a minute, Alistair. And Amrabat is very much like Vidal. Rasmus is very similar to Van Nistelrooy. That's the analysis I've got, says Wesam. Well, remember, you've got 2 good videos on the United Stand about those 2 players that you can look at as well. So West Ham remain in the hunt for Harry Maguire. It's such an interesting one because I can sort of bring Scott McTominay into this as well. Over the last 24 hours, and again this morning, really good sources close to West Ham are now indicating that West Ham's priority signing in the midfield is Scott McTominay. Well, this is music to my ears because I almost put Maguire and McTominay in the same situation. They're so similar in regards to situation and solution. We aren't sold. We can't sell players. We can't sign players. Please, can someone switch on the light at the end of the tunnel, says Mojo. But, I think that when I look at this and I look at how easy this is to solve, United's part in this has just got to be get a reasonable price. If West Ham want to buy both players, United should be doing everything in their power to accommodate those two players going there. There shouldn't be, we shouldn't be pricing West Ham out of a move. We shouldn't be saying to Harry or Scott, we'd like you to stay. This is an opportunity to cash on to... The thing is, it's like, if I've got a car on my drive and I know the engine's a bit crap, and I know that in a year's time I'm going to have to get new tyres on it, it's probably going to fail its MOT, and then somebody gives me a good offer, I'm not going to say, yeah, I want another grand for it. I'm going to sell it. And I think that's what I'd feel about Maguire and McTominay. Forget their talent, forget their age, forget anything. I really don't think next year you'll get any more money. I think now is the time to sell them. And I don't know why you'd keep hold of them. They're not good enough for the first team. When they play, we drop off, if we're being honest. And in a year's time, they're not going to be worth any more because they won't be playing much. So, and if they do play a lot, we tend to get bad results. So the time is now to cash in on those players. So United should be looking to do that. And to do that, you've got to, be working with West Ham or whoever else is interested. And you've got to be speaking openly and honestly to Scott McTominay and Harry Maguire. Now, I think that conversation has happened between Ten Hag and Maguire. I've noticed when we sell players, it's not just about the fee. A lot of media are mentioning their wages. I'm wondering if we are taking lower fees just purely because of wages. Freddie's on 7 million a year. Good point, Sean. Can you say centre forward on top, please? Will make my day, says Cap. And Nick's idea says, watch for years, Marks. I love you to bits. These thumbnails need to stop. Be genuine. It's what made you successful. Constructive feedback. I don't know what you're talking about, Nick. You might have some ideas, but I think your ideas are way off. So... 3 we go. We're talking about 3 players that could go. What was the video Beth did? New talks. Yes, Romano says there's new talks tomorrow. PSG out was my thumbnail. PSG are out of the race because Man United are winning it. So I don't know what you're talking about, Nick. Constructive feedback the other way. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, going back to Maguire and McTominay. So you've got West Ham who want both players there. Now, in the case of Harry Maguire, Martinez is considerably better than you. Varane is considerably better than you. And many people think Lindelof is better than Maguire. He's certainly in better form. So your fourth choice centre-back, your England starting centre-back, you go to West Ham, you play Europa League football, which you're used to, and you get to play Premier League football week in, week out, ahead of the Euros. You go to West Ham, you'll play in the Euros as England's starting centre-back. Because Southgate just wants you to play Premier League football. You stay at Man United, you might not play a game until October, and you might lose your place. So logically, Maguire should be walking to London. He should be like Dick Whittington. He should have a big stick with a bit of handkerchief tied up with his sandwiches in it, and he should be walking off with a cat. But in this case, not a cat, Scott McTominay. So yeah, I think he should be looking to go. But I think Maguire's the one in that. I don't know. I mean, I can't say that I've got good sources close to Harry Maguire. I certainly don't. But I don't know what he's planning to do. But he seems to be miserable, but he could do something about it, In relation to Scott McTominay, selling both players to West Ham allows United to balance the books better, asset-wise. Instead of 40 million McTominay and 20 million Maguire, they could say 30 million each, says Garth. Yes, they could do. They really could. And also, I think as well, I was going to say this about Scott McTominay, but I'd say it about Harry Maguire as well. Ultimately, the bottom line is that, and I say this with a complete and utter straight face, and I'd wonder how many people would actually agree with me. If Scott McTominay and Harry Maguire go to West Ham, I think that they improve West Ham. I do. I think Scott McTominay at West Ham would be a good player. He'd suit the way that David Moyes plays and the way that West Ham want to play. He's very good in the air, and West Ham are quite a physical aerial team. Harry Maguire's good in the air as well. There's a lot of defending when you play for West Ham because that's the way that they have to play. They're not one of the top 6. That will suit people like Maguire and McTominay who like to play in a deeper line. And they are players that put their foot in. So I think they'd be good players for West Ham.